we have nightmares of robots taking over the world, this is what we usually imagine.
Terminator, if it ever happens, is perhaps 100 years away, and we've got plenty of time, I suspect, to prepare for that. But we have very limited time to prepare for the sorts of technologies that we're worried about.
And what they're worried about are these things, lethal autonomous weapons, or what you and I would call killer robots.
The major military powers are pushing ahead very fast with this technology. Even though the US has a policy that bans lethal autonomous weapons, they are still developing all the bits and pieces.
With something like this Predator drone, there's still a human pilot who makes the decision to launch a missile and kill somebody.
Oh, good shots, good shots.
But that decision is something the military would like the drone itself to make.
It's only a small engineering task to take a semi-autonomous drone like the Predator or the Reaper and turn it into a fully autonomous. In fact, the UK's Ministry of Defence have said they think it's technically possible today, and I agree with them.
So you have to ask, why would we do that, right? We have enough trouble with nuclear weapons as it is, and this is going to be much worse.
These will be weapons that will fight 24/7, will have reaction speeds that you won't as a human be able to keep up with. So the only form of deterrence is to have your own autonomous weapon that can fight these things.
This is a killer robot that is working right now in Afghanistan. It automatically shoots down anything that looks like an enemy rocket or mortar. Crucially, it's the robot that decides when to shoot, as a human wouldn't be fast enough. What concerns the science community the most is that making killer robots is actually not very hard.
All the pieces of technology are there. It's a lot easier to build an autonomous weapon than it is to build a self-driving car. A self-driving car has to be 99.99999% reliable. If an autonomous weapon reaches its target and kills the target 30% of the time, then that's pretty good.
In a car, you want to be able to identify pedestrians, track them to see if they're going to step into the road, and then avoid them. And in an autonomous drone, you want to be able to identify combatants on the ground, track them, and then not avoid them, but destroy them.
And given the current trends in electronics, weapons like these are becoming smaller and cheaper every year.
The US Defense Department has a program which is for small drones that can go inside buildings, go into all the rooms, find all the people, and you could argue, well, they could use that for surveillance. Yeah, but you could also use it to kill very large numbers of people. You can put, a gram of high explosive on them, you can blow a hole in somebody's head.
Science and human rights groups are already lobbying politicians for a ban on killer robots.
Ban killer robots.
This week, the world's top AI scientists wrote to the United Nations calling for regulations on killer robots, in the same way that weapons of mass destruction are controlled.
This letter is signed by the founders of robotics and AI companies. It adds the voice of industry to the voice of academia and research.
It's been backed by the likes of Tesla CEO Elon Musk, Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak, and physicist Stephen Hawking. But their sense of urgency doesn't seem to be shared.
What I found in talking to diplomats in particular was that they still thought of this as science fiction. They were saying things like, of course these weapons are 20 to 30 years in the future. And I was like, no, 20 to 30 months.
They will be weapons that will be misused. They'll be used by despots and terrorist organizations against these civilian populations. If there are no controls imposed, it will be the next revolution in warfare. These will be weapons of terror.